You mentioned Cantor, and now we've got Howard Lutnick, former Cantor, I guess, in the White House. You see the Trump administration. We see 2 stablecoin acts. We see the SEC, new chairman, a lot of lawsuits being dropped. You've been in the States developing Volmex in a completely different administration. What's that change been like? How does it feel for you? Do you remain super bullish, kind of like you mentioned, earlier? Or how do you feel about the future?
So I really believe in crypto long term, and always have been very bullish on crypto. So I'll caveat that I'm a true believer in what this tech can offer for the world, and the products that are built with crypto. But there's been a very visible sentiment shift, I think, in the U.S. with the new administration. Now the Bitcoin price is slightly lower than it was in January 20th, but I think that the Biden administration was very hostile towards crypto, and obviously the Trump administration is not perfect and is still just getting started, but is a lot more favorable to crypto entrepreneurs. Now, that's not other industries might feel like the tariffs might have negative externalities on their business, and that might be very true. And I feel bad about that, and we'll see what happens and how it plays out in the long term. I think it's too early to tell, or too early to feel bad about it. But I think it's been positive for crypto. Crypto was in, I was just talking to my colleague earlier about this, in the last administration, there was basically a lawfare against, the crypto companies. Coinbase, one of the best actors that invests the most in compliance and, is regulated, a public company. They had various lawsuits, Kraken, Robinhood, Solana, Gemini, all these different crypto actors, crypto companies that are above board had, investigations, lawsuits, Uniswap, the list goes on. And so the Biden administration, just full stop, was extremely adversarial to crypto. And I think regardless of, Trump, what's going on so far with, tariffs and some uncertainties and whatnot, it's a very visible, positive development for crypto. And I'm quite excited about it. So I think the next couple of years should be quite fruitful for crypto. And, I hope that there's no more sort of adversarial administrations.
Yeah, me too. It's been just amazing to watch. And I think one day we'll tell our grandkids about what it was like to live in an administration that was just really not very helpful and antagonistic, versus this administration with so many players in that White House that own the asset, believe in the asset, and are building on the asset. Not to mention, World Liberty Financial, that the Trump family kind of runs, are super active in it. Not to mention the meme coins. I mean, they're all in on this. And I think we're going to see tons of progress, on the back of that. Talk to me about a token. Does Volmex need your own token? And if so, how does that help the company? How do you think about that? Because it's a really important decision for a company to make, because a lot of companies can be made, make or break based on the token and the execution.
What the London Real Investment Club actually does for you, it gives you the keys to open that door to the inside deals. In the last 3 weeks, I've participated in 3 incredible deals: a layer 2 Bitcoin protocol, an incredible AI protocol. The deal flow is beyond what I expected. I don't think I've ever seen a model like this that just gives average folks the opportunity to be behind the deals, and that's exactly what we've done. Not only that, you get to hang out with Brian Rose every week. And for me, that was huge, because I look at Brian as somebody who's not only an expert in the space, and I think is on the leading edge, but just the leading edge of thought with London Real and the work he's doing there. To anyone who's taking a serious look at this, I know it's a big decision. It was a big decision for me and my family, and it is one of the best decisions I've ever made. So I wish you all the best, and hope you come join us.
So we have a real tangible business. We haven't announced or any official plans for a token, but we will always be very careful about balancing a potential token with the core business, right? Because while a token can supercharge your brand, it's also, in a lot of cases for crypto companies, just purely a liability. And so we think that launching a token could supercharge the brand in the way that the Binance brand has been supercharged by the BNB token. But also for every BNB, there's a graveyard of 1,000 other, projects and tokens that, had a bad outcome. And so for now, we're just focused on growing, the integrations, getting listed on some of the bigger exchanges. And I think that I am a true believer, as mentioned in, the last question, last point, in crypto. I think that, crypto economics can really, and the technology can, it's very powerful. It can align, users, supercharge brands. And so I think that it could be a good conduit for this next, continued phase of growth, but we need to be very careful about the execution, and we have a lot to lose, right? We've been working on this for about 4 years. We've built a tremendous brand up, and so we'd rather just not launch a token than do a token badly. And so it's something maybe we share more on later.
Isn't it interesting how a token can be a real liability? And 4 years ago in the last cycle, we would probably be shocked for someone to tell you that, because we would see, the Uniswaps and the Aves, and it was just all value add. But now you see a bad token launch bring down sometimes a great business with cash flow. And so, but a poor token launch can make it to where no one wants to touch it,
Yeah, it's really interesting. I think the playbook's still being written. I think you'll see a lot of, in the next 2, 5, 10 years, we'll see real businesses that launch tokens, and there's kind of a playbook to, use the token in a compliant way to grow the business, but also align the users. And there's some sort of, equity token structure. But I think companies, it's not really in my sector, but I think, Pump Fund is really interesting, right? They're making a tremendous amount of revenue. They haven't launched a token yet. Maybe if they launch a token, it could have went badly. I'm sure maybe they'll launch a token in the future. I don't have any information, but I suspect they could. And so, they're being very careful. And so if they launch a token the wrong way, they could tip the balance for their, the big business they have. And so I think this is the right way to sort of think about it, be very careful. Now, a lot of crypto folks always, when token and how token, but I think that the smarter entrepreneurs in the space, the more long-term minded folks like us at Volmex are very careful about how we think about that. And, it's nothing to sort of rush.
Hey, I know investing in crypto is scary. It takes a real leap of faith because there are so many scams, rug pulls, and bad actors out there. It's a dangerous business, which is why 95% of people lose all their money. Well, that's why I created the London Real Investment Club, so you can access the hottest deals on the planet and use the crypto bull market to create the generational wealth that you deserve. Join my team of over 100 people from around the world that are making millions of dollars behind the scenes investing in blockchain, AI, Web3 games, DeFi, Bitcoin, and more. Don't miss out. Click the link below to book a call with one of my team now. But hurry, this bull market will end soon.
I know investing in crypto can be scary. That's why you gotta join the investment club. Pull the trigger. Let's do this.